Hello everybody, it's the 25th of February today, and I'm going to repot this Cercidiphyllum, sometimes called the gingerbread or candy floss tree because of the scent of its leaves in the autumn. I think I want to do a little bit of top work to it first before I take it out of the pot, so let's just zoom in while I do something with that. I'm going to start by removing a couple of these pieces of wire which have been on there a while, should have done their job by now, I hope. We'll see if the branches start pinging back into place. Okay, so let's find me cutters. I've decided, having looked at it over the winter, that I dislike this branch in its entirety. It's been coming back into the centre of the tree, so I'm going to remove that, and then I'm going to do a bit of shortening, but there's somebody knocking at my front door. I think Cooper's going mad inside. Back in a sec. False alarm. Nobody there as far as I can tell, but Cooper seemed to think there was. I'm going to shorten back these pieces back to a bud. They're a bit long and a bit straight and a bit boring, with a lot of distance between the what am I trying to say? Between the buds. And so what I can see is a clear bud. I'll take that off. I'm going to go back to a bud. Even though it means losing a little bit of ramification, I think I'll gain more in the long run, if that makes sense. Here, for example, at this juncture, I have two very nice fat buds, and then a long straight piece before the terminal bud, so I'm going to take that out. Same here. Don't like that branch on the inside of the curve there. Not sure about that. Again, I'm going to lose that branch. It doesn't make me smile, and as I've said before, all my trees have to do to earn their keep is to make me smile, and that branch wasn't doing it for me. Dead piece. The right jumble here. Take out that piece in favour of this thinner piece. Take that back to a bud, and that back, that back, and take that right back to outward facing bud. Not sure what to do with this whippy bit. Take it back to there. Still not. It's bothering me. So it's not bothering me, and that's opened up the centre quite nicely and reduced the height somewhat, which is good because I don't want it getting ever taller and ever taller and ever taller. So there we have it. As I say, that's opened it up quite nicely. Now that I've done that, you can see I've still got 3 pieces here coming from one spot. So the question is, which 2 do I keep? And I think it's going to be those 2. Yeah. Even though that's at the back of the tree, it would still bother me. I do like my trees to look nice from both sides, if I can. So almost having 2 fronts, as it were. Yeah, I think that's enough for today. I may snip a little more as the season goes on, but for now that's a not bad setup. I'm quite happy with that. I see a piece of wire I forgot to take off. In fact, I might rewire that, bring it down a little more. Yeah, I think that's done its job, bringing those apart. Okay. Decided that it's going to look nice in this green deepish pot that I had for Christmas or birthday, one of the 2, and so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with my nylon brush and just try and expose some of these surface roots, do a bit of weeding. What I'm working with. I've already got an established single front, although as I just said, I do want to keep this tree as having a kind of a double front. Potting tray keeps the mess to a minimum, or at least it keeps it contained. And having it on the turntable means that I can look at what I need to. Okay, so that's not too bad. They're not the best, reddingest roots ever, but they do look quite natural. And I will work on exposing them more and more in subsequent repottings. Let's get it out of the pot. In this case, the seed tray has been in for several years. Just an ordinary run-of-the-mill full-size seed tray, but a solid one, not one of those flimsy ones that you sometimes see in garden centres. Quite a root mat, so get in with the root hook. Okay, so as usual, if you haven't seen before, my root pruning toolkit primarily contains my root hook, some choppers to go through really thick, chunky roots, and my root shears for the finer stuff. And obviously you don't want to be using your nice 6 super fine bonsai scissors on this sort of muck. I'm not going to bare root this tree. I know they always say don't bare root a juniper or a pine because of the associated mycorrhizal fungi and things, but although I've no evidence to support this, it strikes me that there's all sorts of things that may be beneficial that are living in this. And why disturb the roots more than you have to? Plus, once this is done, I'm going to have a nice solid flat root ball that's going to sit very comfortably in that pot, helping the tree to stay upright. So, just raking that out. There's no sign of any taproot. I obviously removed that at an earlier stage, and that, I think, will sit in that pot quite comfortably, or not. This is why you don't use your eyes to measure up for a fitted carpet, etc., because looking at that, I thought that's going to fit in there with an inch or so around the side quite nicely, and yet it was almost too snug. So we'll take off a little more. It's amazing how much dirtier this soil gets. You'll see when I put in the fresh soil that it's much cleaner and lighter of colour. That's better. But over a couple of years, as things break down and it fills with fine roots, you end up with this really dark stuff. Okay, potting tray out, pot in, and lovely. That's going to fit quite nicely and give room to put in plenty of fresh soil for it to grow into. And in fact, it's going to have a little bit more depth than it had before, so that might give it a bit of oomph as well. Pre-prepared some potting soil, drainage screens in place. Just I'm very careful not to move them when I put the first lot of soil in, and then they stay in place rather nicely. Okay, I'm kind of judging that that's about right. Again, who knows, eyesight is not the best, but you can come on a little more, mounted up in the middle. going to try get the tree fairly central in the pot. To that end, I think I still needed to take a little bit more off that side. What are they saying about containing the mess? That's better. Okay. Not bad. Quite happy with that. I'm gonna put a scoop of slow release fertilizer, if I can get the lid off, in the top layer of that bottom layer of soil, if that makes sense. Just mix it in very slightly. I want the stuff to sit high in the pot so that when I water the trees, it doesn't leach all the feed straight down to the bottom. Some of it will stay in the pot, and then it's just a question bring it round so I can see my front again. No, I like it like that. Just make sure it's solidly in contact, and then fill in. Because I've got a solid root ball, I don't have to worry too much about making sure I don't have any air pockets, because the root ball has done most of that work for me. Okay. So, almost done. And then another scoop, sprinkled loosely over the surface. So again, as I say, when you water, the feed will leach down into the pot. I always think if you put it in the bottom layer, then as the feed's released with the water, and the water runs out the bottom of the pot, so does the feed. And just to link it as a homogeneous whole, a very thin layer over the top of that, and over the top of the root ball, covering up some of those surface roots, unfortunately, but they will come into their own in the next few repottings. This tree's still got a long way to go in overall terms. However, all in all, it makes me smile, and that's what it has to do. And it's earning its keep. Quick drink. And hopefully, by the time this tree wakes up properly next month, it won't even know it's moved. There comes the water flowing out the bottom. Excellent. So there we have it, in its first bonsai pot, set up for the year, and hopefully it'll have a great year. I'll just pop the can in to scale. And that just leaves me to say thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Do all the usual YouTube things, the liking, the subscribing, comment below. But most of all, please, 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 stay safe everybody.